If Fex wasn't consuming the blood of every human he came into contact with, that would suggest that it didn't have the same effects on him as it did on Quinn. It would be understandable if he was doing it for reasons to not be caught. However, he already had these 7 people in the room, yet he didn't consume blood from a single person. "System, what is the meaning of this?" Quinn asked. "I think you've figured it out already," the system replied. "As I've said to you before, your vampire powers are unique, different from the others. What applies to you doesn't mean it will apply to them, and the same can be said the other way around. But this, Quinn, this is your advantage over the others." Certain vampires had weird habits. It was probably because they were either stuck indoors or mostly stuck in the dark all the time. This was what was going through Fex's head as he looked at Quinn. Even Fex was considered weird for having so much interest in humans, but so far his experiences with them hadn't been great. No one would talk to him, and of the very few interactions he had with all of them, he was attacked, first by Aaron, then by his 2 roommates. Finally, when the female student's leg was fully healed, Peter no longer felt weird about eating the leg in front of him. Before, he felt like he was eating a part of her, but now that he could see that she was fine, he couldn't let it go to waste. The first bite was the hardest, but once he got the juicy taste of flesh into his mouth, he couldn't stop. He continued until almost nothing was left but the bone. "Ghouls, a little bit of a messy eater, aren't they?" Fex said, trying to crack a joke. But Quinn was in no laughing mood. "Quest update. 3 of 7 pieces of human flesh have been consumed by ghoul Peter Chuck." Once again, the energy surged through Quinn's body, but he knew it wasn't him getting stronger, but Peter instead. But this message had only soured his mood, realizing he would need to do this 4 more times. "Maybe we should just take the easy way?" Quinn thought for a brief moment, but quickly changed his mind. They took off the blindfold from the girl, and then Fex started to use his influence skill. His red eyes glowed, and so did the females he was looking at. She appeared dazed, as if she was unaware of anything around her, as if she was asleep, but with her eyes open. Fex gave simple instructions of what happened that night. He was sure not to overcomplicate things, and at the same time not give too many details, otherwise it could cause problems with her mind. The last thing he mentioned was telling her to sleep for another hour. While one of them watched the hallways for any oncoming students, the other would carry them and put them in a place where it would be a while before a student spotted them. Certain sections of the library, just outside the staircase on the top floors, and so on. "What if someone sees them?" Peter asks. "There are students who are knocked out all the time, although to the watch system it will just appear like they are sleeping. Everyone else will think something happened to them," Vorden explained. "Think about it. While you were sleeping outside the room, apart from the first day, did people bother you?" Peter knew Vorden was right, and he felt like Peter only gained extra attention because he was a level 1. But after the first day, several students just ignored Peter like he was some homeless dog left on the street. After they finished doing everything they needed to do, they left Fex in his room on his own. "If you need me, you know where to find me," Fex said. As he saw the 3 boys walk off, Fex started to feel a little bored. Everything that happened today was one of the first interesting things that had happened to him since he got to the human world. Then, when they thought about it, it was one of the most interesting things he had done in his life so far. The day had arrived, and Peter wasn't feeling hungry this morning as he had eaten a meal last night, but that still didn't mean there wasn't a list of jobs they needed to do. They had more problems right now than just trying to find meat for Peter. Because Duke was hot on their heels. They needed to convince him that somehow Peter was learning the ability books handed to him. So the 3 decided to once again split up for the morning. Vorden had memorized the students who had the regenerative ability, and at breakfast he would try to track them down and find out what club classes they go to and when would be the best time to nab them. While Peter and Quinn had decided to pay a little visit upstairs to the VIP area. Their aim for today was to visit Logan. Not once had Quinn seen Logan in the canteen area, and he realized he never saw Logan around the school much even before that. While also training in the pod that Logan had, he realized he never really left the room, and there was no need for him to. The VIP room had facilities such as a shower and a toilet, and whenever he wanted, he could call and ask for food from the shop to be delivered to his door. "Long time no see," Logan greeted as this time he answered the door still with bags under his eyes. When he finished rubbing his eyes, though, he noticed someone else behind him. "It looks like you brought a friend with you as well this time." They entered the room and Peter couldn't stop looking at all the strange gadgets inside. He also noticed the level 8 on Logan's watch, which frightened him a little. When did Quinn get to know someone so powerful? He thought. Once he sat down, Quinn started to explain what he wished Logan to do. However, this time, Quinn was afraid Logan would decline. He had already asked so much from him, and he had nothing to give back in return. But without saying anything, he put on his metallic glove and got to work on the watch while it was still in Peter's hand. After a few minutes, he sat back in his chair. "All done for you," he said. Now onto the watch, the number 2 was permanently displayed. "If we want to come back and increase the number, are you okay with that, Logan?" "I thought you might ask something like that, so I already did it for you," Logan said. "If you twist the top of the watch, then the numbers will change, going from 1 up to 6. So you will be able to fool anyone into thinking you have a high ability. Every time I work on something, I just impress myself more and more." Quinn was feeling even more guilty Logan hadn't even asked any questions about why he needed to do such a thing, and was providing his services for free. "If you ever need any help, Logan, feel free to ask me. I know you probably don't need me too much, but even if it's for testing something in the game, please, I want to help you." With that said, it was almost time for the combat classes to begin, and the two of them had to leave. As they left the room, Logan quickly booted up his computer and started typing away until he suddenly stopped. "If I do this, he will probably never trust me again. It was nice speaking to a person for once, rather than a machine," Logan said. "But at the same time, I can tell you are hiding things from me, and I can only help you if I know more." "Recording device activated," the computer system said. He could now hear everything when he activated the recording device inside Peter's watch. When Quinn had first come in and made the request, he had explained that his system had hidden the level of his actual ability. It made sense why he needed to adjust the score on his watch. This was why when Logan saw Peter and they had made the same request, it secretly made Logan happy inside. He thought that perhaps Peter had been put under the same type of system that Quinn had. He saw Quinn as a friend now and was happy to help him, but his urge to find out about the system far surpassed that of their weak bond. Upon touching Peter, he realized how he was disappointed. He didn't have the same reaction as he did upon touching Quinn. This meant, right now, he couldn't think of a reason why Peter would need to change his level. If it was something as simple as to avoid others from bullying him, it was too risky to do. Once they found out how weak he was, they would report him, and the watch would be replaced. The only thing he could think of was Quinn and Peter were hiding something from him, so he came up with a plan to implant a recording device into the watch. At first, he was originally going to do this with Quinn. However, he and Quinn got close. He enjoyed the small conversations they would have. He decided it wasn't right to invade his privacy and believed Quinn would eventually tell him.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.